Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey.
There's very few rap acts out there that have influenced, have inspired, have stood the test of time. There's some. There's Run DMC, we've talked about here on the program before. There's NWA. There's Tribe Called Quest. There's some others, and I don't want to discount anything anyone's done here. That's for sure. But, buddy, when you talk about a group of guys who have absolutely influenced a generation of rappers and who are still going, who are still active, and have their hands in so many different forms of media and have done so many things in their solo careers and also together, Wu-Tang Clan is it. I mean, to me, they are, Run DMC is like the kings of rock, Like, for me, Wu-Tang is up there. I mean, you talk about Mount Rushmore, they could be every face. They're that good. They're that talented. They're that deep. Talk about a deep roster. That's Wu-Tang Clan. And I've met very few people in my time that don't enjoy Wu-Tang Clan to some extent because they've just got, yes, they have a sound for sure, but they've never been afraid to experiment with that sound to go beyond what they've done before. And because they've got so many different voices, there'll be moments where you're like, is that a Wu-Tang track or is that a solo track? Sometimes it's hard to know. I think that's the beauty of this band. But today we're going to talk about Wu-Tang Forever. And it's the second album from this group. It's not the first one. We did Enter 36 Chambers. That is in the archives, kids. It's been there for a good long time, so please go check that out. And we would appreciate it. Phil and I covered that a long time back. But today we're going to do what I believe is maybe an underrated album. I would view it as an underrated album. But we'll see what you guys think about it here today. Can't wait to talk about it. Let's get into it. Wu-Tang Forever is the 1997 double album from the Wu-Tang Clan, released June 3rd, 1997 through Loud Records, RCA Records, and Wu-Tang Records. It serves as the group's highly anticipated follow-up to Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, arriving after each member had established solo success, turning this project into both a reunion and a pressure test for the collective. The album features the full core lineup of the Wu-Tang Clan: RZA, GZA, ODB, Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface Killah, Inspector Deck, You God, and Master Killa, alongside affiliates like Capadonna, Street Life, Takitha, and Papa Wu. Produced primarily by RZA with additional production from Fourth Disciple and True Master, the record expands the Wu sound into more layered cinematic territory, leaning heavily on soul samples, orchestral textures, and dense multi-voice storytelling. And that is your lowdown on Wu-Tang Forever. So, Phil, I introduced this as an underrated album. Do you think it's underrated, or do you think it gets its props?
I think the first album absolutely gets way more props. When people talk about this album, of course, they talk about one song in particular, which is probably one of the most famous Wu-Tang records ever.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the album as a whole gets the same flowers as Triumph does.
I agree with that. And I'll be honest with you, if you put me on the spot and told me to name a song, in the past, Triumph would have been the one I would have named for sure. But there's some great tracks on here, man. Side A's got great tracks on there.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's tough because, most people, when they think Wu-Tang, you think of two specific songs, either Cream or Triumph.
Yeah, or Protect Your Neck. Yeah, that's fair. I can't say that I followed a lot of the guys' individual efforts. As we said in the intro, man, there's a lot of solo work done by all the members. ODB, of course, rest in peace to him. He's been gone for a while as well. But, in terms of solo careers and everything, is there anything that, I think Meth's done more maybe than anyone else, maybe RZA, because RZA's done soundtracks work and whatnot. But in terms of being independent of each other, I guess what I'm asking is, to your opinion, are they better together or are they better solo, or does it just depend on the project itself?
I don't know, because of course, the Purple Tape is a classic album. Only Built for Cuban Links is a classic. I mean, the fact that you could say the Purple Tape to most hip hop fans and they know exactly what album that is, that tells you everything you need to know. But then there's also like Ghostface's solo career and Supreme Clientele, and just how popular Iron Man, of course, as well. Like, as a matter of fact, like as much as I like Wu-Tang, I definitely would say I listen to Ghostface single stuff way more than I have any of their stuff as a group.
Interesting. Wow.
But I think that's a timing thing. I think it's when you started listening to them as well.
Well, that's fair. He's been a very prolific artist through this whole period too, I think. Ghostface. He's been out there quite a bit, man.
Extremely influential artist.
Oh, I agree. Do you think Meth is the most commercially successful of this group, or is that like a different scale of judging how these guys are outside of the group itself?
I would say Meth is probably the most famous member because of, collectively his music career outside of the stuff with Wu-Tang, but then also his acting career and a lot of other stuff he's done. He's probably the most famous member for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Plus, he's just one of those MCs that just has a sound. There's just something about that voice, right? Like him and Jay and Chuck D. I mean, just guys and X, right? DMX, they just all have their own distinctive style. It'd be hard to mimic Method Man because he's just got such a soulful sound to his voice.
Yeah, very distinct voice. You recognize this guy right away.
Yeah.
He's the biggest star of the group.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I do think that's true. Like you said, Ghostface has had a heck of a career. Riz has had a heck of a career, but for me, I think that's it.
Yeah, Jizza, of course, had his success as well with Liquid Swords. And
that's true.
Some of the other members, they have things like Czarface and like Inspector Deck has done other things. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to rival just like how recognizable Ghostface is outside of rap music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he what else he gotten into outside of the industry, by the way, Ghostface?
I mean, he had that coffee shop. I don't know if it's still open. But he's
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, Ghostface is like, it's something about him. He's just like one of those like rap characters in a way that Snoop Dogg is, where it's just like he just immediately recognize him for like some of his looks, like when he had like that big massive gold bird that he used to have on his wrist. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many things about him that I think is like recognizable outside of like this group, and like in the same way that like Flavor Flav is like an all-time great hip-hop character.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good comparison too. Public Enemy, I let them out of the description of the intro, like rap acts that just sort of stood out and stuff. Like, if you had to rate it, before we get into this album, because I'd like to know what you think, in terms of creativity, in terms of, sort of inspiring the next generation. I mean, we've heard a sonic shift in how rappers deliver now. Like it's, and I know I sound like the old man in the room, and I really don't mean to. But like I'll be in the same room with my son, and he will listen to 4 different rap artists in a row, and they all sound like the same rapper because the cadence is identical, the style's identical, the beats are almost identical. And I guess you could say, well, Tom, this is what sells. But like, dude, you really couldn't mistake Wu-Tang for Public Enemy, and you couldn't really mistake Run DMC for NWA. There just wasn't. Each band had their own style. Each rapper, like whoever confused Tupac with DMX, it didn't happen. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me shaking my fist at the clouds. But when I say that Wu-Tang inspired the next generation, maybe they inspired them in multifaceted ways, but not necessarily, hey, it's a group of rappers, we're a collective, we're working together. What would be your take on that in terms of what they did for like the next generation of guys that came after them?
They definitely influenced a lot of clones, a lot of guys that tried to sound like them or, use their same style. And just like the impact of sampling martial arts films and what RZA was doing as a producer. Like a lot of people tried to copy that after the fact. Like you'd be hard pressed to not see their influence on someone like MF Doom or like the guys from Griselda, or like I know Action Bronson was one of those guys because he sounds so much like Ghostface Killer that people thought he was biting off of him. But his rap voice sounds so close to Ghostface Killer. Like if you just played an Action Bronson song and you had no like experience with his music, you didn't know who he was, you would think it was Ghostface.
Crazy. And that's just his natural voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also just the way he talks, his vernacular and everything. He sounds very much like Ghostface, and like, that's their impact on hip hop, man. Like so many people, when they think of New York rap and they think of like the New York scene, it's so closely synonymous with like Wu-Tang at a certain time period.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, kids, this album's big. There's 27 songs on this album. I mean, it's huge, right? And no wonder it's 2 discs. Let me ask you this before we get started. Was this a pretty ambitious thing to do for your follow-up album? And in your opinion, did it work? I mean, does it work as a whole presentation? Does it work, you think?
The double disc is tough. Multiple hip hop acts and multiple rappers have tried the double disc, and it's hard to keep people's attention for that long, especially in this day and era where we're in an era of streaming, and you could just go and pick whatever song you want. You can go download whatever song you want and just listen to it over and over again. So keeping people engaged for 27 songs is a tall task. I think that might be why, even though some people consider it a classic album, that might be why the first album is more well regarded, because it's more concise, and like there's less skippable songs on their first album for sure.
I agree. Yeah.
And like I think this album is good, but they were gonna have a tough task trying to top that first album to begin with. And then coming with this much music, it's a very dense album. It's a lot of music, a lot of music. And then just the sheer number of people in the group, and then you've got guests on it. It's a lot of different voices. It's a lot. Like, this is a jam-packed album.
It is big. It is so big. It's kind of, sometimes I've used the word slog, and it's like got a negative connotation. I don't know if I want to use the word slog here, because I really like this album. But it is a lot to kind of go through, for sure. But you know what? If you're Wu-Tang Clan at this point in time, how are you not feeling like, yeah, F it, we're just going to do it? Because, like, I don't know that you'd say it's a middle finger to everybody else, but, like, at this point in time, they're kind of feeling maybe bulletproof to some extent because they've had so much success together and as individuals. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I definitely think that they have, one of the best double disc albums in all of hip-hop. Like I said, it's tough. Like Blueprint 2, as much as there are high spots on that album that I really like, I don't think it's a good album on a whole. There's a lot of filler on there that doesn't need to be there. Like the J. Cole album that just came out, The Fall Off is a double disc. And even that album, as much as I like it, there's definitely stuff on there that I feel like he could have cut. Yeah, I mean, Nas has tried to do the double disc, and it's not really my favorite Nas album. It's not a Nas album that I revisit a lot. Of course, Biggie famously, his last album is a double disc. That's probably one of the better ones as well. But like I said, it's tough, man. It's tough. Even when you just think of all of music, when you think of like artists that managed to nail a double disc, it's hard.
It's tough. We've done several of them here. We've done White Album, of course. And we did all the Blueprint albums. So that's, kids, that's in the archives. Go check those out for sure. Yeah, well, look, it's a big one. And kids, just so you're following along with us here, we're only doing Side A this week. So you're only going to get the first, I think it's 10 tracks we've got here. Actually, it's 11 tracks. So even after this, we've still got 16 to go. I'm going to need a nap before this thing's over.
Would you count the intro as a track?
No, not really, but it's on the list. So
so it's technically 10 songs.
It's technically 10. That's fair. Yeah, that first track, man. That opening is. We'll get to it in a sec because I got to get your thoughts. I cannot wait to hear what you think about this. So Side A, kids, opens with Wu-Tang operating less like a rap group and more like a fully networked collective intelligence. not just 9 members, but an expanding universe of voices, sort of orbiting RZA's production vision. Where 36 Chambers felt raw and tightly contained, as Phil alluded to, Wu-Tang Forever immediately signals scale. This means longer tracks, more layered verses, and a shifting balance where no single member dominates for too long, and instead the clan moves like rotating members. Voices enter, exit, and overlap inside RZA's darker, more polished production framework. Having said all that, it's like Side A is essentially Wu-Tang redefining what group rap even means in the post-solo era. And you know what? If anyone's going to do that, it may as well be them, because they're just so phenomenally great. And it's not really a reunion album. I don't call it that. It's more like of a recalibration. It's this idea of, RZA's production has come far beyond what it was, and he is pushing everything larger, like longer songs, layered verses, more voices per track, and a structure where, like, the Wu-Tang Clan operates like rotating energy rather than just sort of staying in the pocket on each of their roles. Really quick, Phil, before we get into this, we talked about this off mic. Kids, if you like to follow along, we try to give as much as we can on these tracks when we do an album review. The samples for this album are all over the place, and you'll get different information from one site to the next. So where I've got verified samples that have been confirmed, I'll give them to you. If they're unconfirmed, I'll tell you that. And Phil may have better knowledge of the ones I think are unconfirmed, and he may have better knowledge than on the ones I have that I believe are confirmed. But we'll get there when we get there. The first track, I call it a track. This is Wu Revolution. This is Papa Wu and Tekitha, and I don't want to pronounce that wrong. Produced by RZA. Supposedly, this is the OJs give the people what they want, is like accredited source material. And there's like a lot of orchestral soul layering. You got RZA's anthem build era production. And you got Papa Wu, the spoken spiritual framing. I got thoughts on this, but I want to know what you think, Phil. What's your take on this?
This intro is very long. Yes. Very, very long. It feels like it goes on forever. It's a lot of rambling over this beat. And to be honest, I always skip it. I always skip it. I always go straight.
Seconds.
Yeah, it's so long. I always skip it and go right to Reunited, to the point that Reunited feels like the real start to the album. And even the first verse of it is like such a perfect introduction to what this album is, that it makes me wonder, why was Reunited not the first song? Why did we decide to go with this very long eulogy or whatever this is at the beginning of the album? And it's it's very weird. It's a very weird intro.
I think eulogy was a pretty great way to put it. I don't know how else to put that.
Sermon. There you go. Sermon might sound better. Eulogy sounds like someone died. Sermon sounds better.
Yeah. I mean, the track kind of dies. It's not really working for me either. Yeah. It's one I definitely skip. I'm with you on that for sure. I got thoughts on the whole religion aspect of this, which it doesn't matter. It's just a track that doesn't really mean anything, so it's not a big deal. But, at the same time, I don't know. I guess it's whatever the creator wants to do, and if it's something that you as an artist want to put in to your album, you absolutely can. It's totally up to you. I don't know. I just for me, I'm just listening to this going, I don't know what the point of this is. I don't know. I guess maybe there's a bigger story being told here. Maybe it's going to lead to something. I kind of don't know if there's a payoff to that opening track. Do you know what I mean?
No. No. It definitely feels like it fits this idea of this album being bigger and grander in scale. It's not them starting with a sample from one of the Kung Fu films or something else again. It's it's big and it's an attempt at being personal, but boy, it's just so long. I just don't know why it needs to be so long.
It's so long. Yeah, 6.5 minutes, man. That's a long freaking time. Yeah, I don't get that either. But you know what? It gets us to Reunited, and Reunited is a great, great freaking song. I mean, right off the bat, all that stuff I said about, there's a lot more here and it's not quite the same. And, we said Chambers was tight, which it is. But then you get to Reunited and you're like, well, I'm going to not listen to that criticism anymore because this song is freaking great. And it's 5 minutes, 21 seconds. It's also long. This definitely could have been the beginning. What you think overall about this one?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a perfect start to the album. It's a perfect introduction to the style of production that RZA goes with for most of this album.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. It has like this like kind of classical music sound to it. And like the tempo, like the drum loop he uses, immediately a head knocker. And like I said, Jizza's verse at the beginning is a perfect introduction to what this album is. Like, this is our second entry out, coming with the double disc, what people were waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect, and just like everything about it, Method Man's verse on here is great. The way that it always feels like Old Dirty Bastard is bursting through a wall, like the Kool-Aid Man when his verse starts.
Every time.
His energy on the track is just so, it's just like, it almost like he's jumping out of your headphones when you hear it.
It's true. Yeah. The sample on this, the Love was the Love Unlimited Orchestra with Love's theme. So that is confirmed to the best of my knowledge. This is one of the cleanest, most widely agreed Wu-Tang samples for sure. The Barry White orchestral sound is heavily networked into this song, and the full group appears on this, Phil. That's a great way to kick off the album, right? Well, technically kick off, but like to have every member on this track, man.
Yeah.
The breakdown for this, kids, this is the official reunion announcement. Like every core member gets space. The sequencing matters. Nobody dominates for long stretches. ODB brings the chaos, as we alluded to. Jizza brings precision. Meth brings mainstream flow. Ghostface and Raekwon brings cinematic street detail, and Deck and You God keep it sharp and grounded.
Boink Studios YouTube is the home of Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Tom Clark's main event, Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Subscribe to the channel for archives that date back to 2014, with new content being uploaded every week. And check out boinkstudios.com for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Bookmark the site today.
I think that's great. I think their sound is fully encapsulated here. I just love it. I think this is a great track, man. I mean, I think this would have fit on 36 Chambers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan of this one. So what do you think about in terms of how all this fits together? Like for this one, like having all the guys on there, when it's done really well and it flows, I mean, everything's great. Are there moments for this album that you think like, I don't want to ask you, are there too many members on a song, but can it get too crowded at times, or do you think RZA does a pretty good job of keeping it spaced out?
No, I think it works. I know originally Reunited only had Jizza and Method Man on it, if I remember correctly. And then it got changed. I think I'm remembering that correctly, that it only had like 3 verses on it.
Yeah.
Or 4 verses on it. And yeah, I think it works. I think that they did a good job of like spacing each verse apart, and everybody brings such a different, distinct sound to the verse. And I think it works for, again, like what this album is supposed to be as an intro for this album. Again, I don't know why we didn't just start the album with the song, but
that's good.
Can't go back, huh?
And plus, can we give a shout out to her going, "It's woo, mother effer." Dude, I love that. It's so, I mean, to them it was probably cool. To me, it's hilarious, but it's cool at the same time. I love it. It's like not something you expect to hear. That great soulful sound, that voice she has saying those words is quite fun to me.
Yeah. You always need a Tasha, you need a Miss Roxy, and Miss Roxy definitely brought her contributions to this song. If you don't know the Tasha reference, I'm of course referencing Thuggish Ruggish Bone. And like Tasha's doing all the singing on it, and like she's like at the end she's like singing all the members of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and at the end she's just like, and Tasha.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, really good track, man. I mean, I think it's a standout. It's one of my favorites on here, actually.
Yes, same.
So, kids, we go from that to track number 3, Track number 3 is For Heaven's Sake. This is 4 minutes, 13 seconds. And this has got that sound bite that you hear in the loop. Like, that's definitely a Wu-Tang loop. That definitely sounds like something they would do. I mean, I feel like there's another artist that's used a sound similar to that. I don't know if it's Jay or not, but something similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is actually a sample of King Floyd's Don't Leave Me Lonely. And it's a soul vocal and instrumentation fragments that are chopped into the emotional loop structure. Raekwon's on this with the lead. Ghostface Killah's on it. Capadonna, Street Life, and RZA is on here as well. And this is where the extended Wu family becomes permanent structure. So they got more of the extended family on here. What do you think? This has got a very distinctive sound. I don't think it sounds like Reunited. I think it sounds like a totally separate track. What do you think about the feel of this one?
Yeah, totally different sound. I think the highlight for most of this album is RZA's production. And his production on Reunited is so good, but this is such a different attempt. And he's done this multiple times throughout his career, doing these kind of samples. I thought it worked well here. This is, like you said, it's a very Wu-Tang record, like that kind of sound of like 1997 New York hip hop. Like you said, there's so many other artists from the New York at that time period that have done this kind of sample, this kind of production. And again, that just tells you Wu-Tang's influence at that time. It's just undeniable.
Yeah, Capadonna's really fitting in here. Like, it's easy to think of him as like a full-time member, but he wasn't I don't know if that he is now, but he was like an affiliate for a while, but like he's totally into this at this point. And tone-wise, this one's like darker and it's more cinematic, more storytelling, less mythology. Because, I think, Phil, it's easy to kind of throw Wu-Tang Clan stuff into like the fun kung fu, like the movies, the kung fu movies and stuff, but then you kind of lose that they're capable of a lot more, which I think this album kind of showed you,
For sure. Yeah, this is Capadonna's first appearance on the album, and he fits in perfectly. He gets the last verse on the song, and it's great.
Yeah, his rhymes are good too. I really like this. Well, track 4, kids, and I know we're kind of tearing through this, but as we said, it's a long album, and even though we're just doing side A today, we'd rather be able to kind of put these two together and you listen to them at your leisure instead of each episode taking 2 hours. So, because they absolutely could. So track number 5 is Cash Still Rules, and that's obviously a callback to Cash Rules Everything Around Me from 36 Chambers. This is Cash Still Rules, Scary Hours, Still Don't Nothing Move But the Money. And 3 minutes and 1 second, the shortest song on the album so far. Another good song, another good track. What's your thoughts about this one? How does it compare to the 2 and 3 here?
Yeah, they came with all the heavy hitters, all of the top lyricists in the group. Raekwon opens the record. He's like I said, we already know like the way that the Purple Take is regarded, and then Method, of course, came with his verse later, and Ghostface is on here. Like, if you think of like some of the most well regarded like rappers in the group, throwing the 3 of them on a record, it just feels like that's the lyrical record.
For sure, yeah, that's very true. The Cash Still Rules, like Cash Rules Everything Around Me. That's got to be one of the most well known songs as well, like from the first album. You think?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. When you think Wu-Tang, it's either Cream, Triumph, or Protect Your Neck. Like those are probably like their biggest records.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Skeeter Davis, The End of the World, is the only confirmed sample that I know of that is on here. The piano vocal structure heavily repurposed into the darker, scary hours section. I really like this. Like you said, they've got their heavy hitters on this one. This is a 2-part track structure. Cash Still Rules is status, survival, and money logic, and Scary Hours is a tone shift into paranoia and threat. And this is Wu-Tang talking about success while still sounding like they don't trust it. That's an interesting take, too. Like, these guys are on top of the world at the point this album comes out. I don't know if anyone will have this take or not, Phil, but, like, to me, yes, they're entrepreneurs at this point. They are doing a lot of different things. I don't know if I could really sit here and say I feel like that they were so commercial, they were no longer genuine. Do you think that happened to any of them? Because I feel like they all sort of kept their same vibe. Even ODB, he started guesting on everybody's record at that point. But he still felt like a real guy. He didn't feel like he was, I don't know. What do you think about it? You think most of these guys kept true to form, or do you think any sort of the commercialness kind of got to them to some degree?
Yeah, I think they all mostly still stayed who they are. I mean, like that time period where we were getting all of the ODB features, nobody could do those features other than him. Like, he has such a distinct voice. He brings such a distinct energy to anything he's on. Like, even like the fantasy verse with Mariah Carey, nobody else could rap that verse.
It's very true. I miss him just showing up on tracks, man. That was fun times.
Yeah. There'll never be another ODB, man.
No. His son's out there doing it, man. His son appears with Wu-Tang. I don't know if he's actual official member or not, but he's got a lot of his dad's energy, man, for sure, So, yeah.
But yeah, big fan of this song. Like I
same.
said, you had all the heavy hitters on it. I love the way that Ghostface comes in at the end. It definitely has my favorite verse on this song. I love the way his verse fades out at the end. Like, he doesn't even completely finish.
Right. Oh, yeah, I noticed that. I always wonder if it was like a production thing they didn't fix. I guess they left it that way on purpose.
I've just gotten used to it, hearing the song as many times as I have.
Yeah.
But there's definitely also some weird things like that on this album, like production choices, mixing choices that I don't think that really makes this album easy listening sometimes. Of course, like, now that it's like on streaming platforms and it's not like on tape or CD and you're not getting some like crummy audio that makes it sound worse. Mm-hmm. But there are definitely some things on here where it's just like, why did RZA decide like this was the mixing technique he wanted to do here? What's going on?
Again, I just feel like they felt like they could do anything at this point. Like, they'd conquered the world with that first album. And basically, I can't say every single thing they did was a hit after that, but I don't think anything was failing. I mean, as solo artists, they were finding success on their own. I mean, all you had to do at that point was just say RZA of Wu-Tang Clan or Method Man of Wu-Tang Clan. That was enough to at least sell records, I think, at that point. We've talked a lot about the Beatles here and about in the years following the group's demise that, I think a lot of people would buy the solo records just because of the Beatles name, and then they became fans of the guys individually in terms of their own work. Maybe a lot of that happened here as well.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Track number 5, kids. This is my favorite song on the album, dude. Like, and I haven't burned through, the second disc at all, and getting ready for this session. But Visions at 3 minutes and 9 seconds. It's no mystery that Meth is on the lead vocal on this. I think this sounds suspiciously like Triumph. It almost could be like Triumph Part 1 because of the sound. It's my favorite track on the album, man. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's interesting. When you listen to this album, there are a few songs that sound similar to Triumph. Like, Reunited has kind of a similar like orchestral sound to it. Like, there's violin that's throughout this album.
Yes.
On the first half. It's almost like it's an orchestral technique where, when you go and see a musical or you go see something and, you hear music throughout a show and you hear someone put together a score or something. Mm-hmm. And then when you get like the big, like either title track or like the big moment in all of these things, it feels like most of the score is leading to that. Right?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Like, I don't know if that was the intent with Triumph, but it feels like throughout the first half of this album, it just feels like, when are we going to get to Triumph? Because there's so many moments that remind you of Triumph, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, great song. I love the production on this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Inspector Deck produced this song.
I think that's right.
But yeah, at the beginning, it has that sound like, something's being played backwards.
Yes. Yes.
That's a technique that has been used a few times in hip hop. Again, the influence on MF Doom and Operation Doomsday. There's a song on there that has that same kind of sound of something played in slow motion and played backwards.
Nice.
That's the Slow It Down, Speed It Up record on there. But yeah, it's just Yeah, this is classic Wu-Tang. Method's verse at the beginning is incredible. Can't go wrong with Visions, man. One of the best songs on the album for sure.
Totally agree. Yeah. As you said, a lot of sampled orchestral, there's soul fragments in here, layered drum programming, no single universally agreed upon sample on this one, kids. It's just a lot of layers and textures, not clearly credited as a single identifiable source across databases, which is a thing, but it is what it is. This track also includes layered cinematic elements. Some sources, no additional uncredited drum programming, but Stevie Wonder remains one of the most mentioned reference points for this song. Don't know how much of Stevie I'm hearing, but I guess if I had it broke down for me, track, element by element, maybe I could hear it. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. Yeah, it's a great song, man. Like, again, this is my favorite song on the album. I think it just hits. I think it's awesome. And this is like the philosophical core of side A too. Less aggression, more worldview. And again, Phil, they're giving you something different. Like I just said, less aggression on this one, less in your face, and more like a cinematic presentation. I love that Riz is like, stretching his wings on this album, man.
Yeah. But yeah, big MF Doom fan if people can't tell, but definitely Visions reminds me a lot of Go With The Flow off Operation Doomsday.
I can't say I don't like the guy, but I've never really given myself a chance to really dive in. I've listened to some of his things, but maybe I just haven't committed enough yet. But yeah, he's a pro wrestling guy, so that's part of it right there. So
at a certain time period in 2000s, like Doom was massive. Just like the Adult Swim and his music being on Adult Swim, the album with Mad Libs, and yeah, if you were a certain kind of fan, if you're an anime fan or you liked Adult Swim or you like certain kinds of like stuff and you were up late at night, you could not avoid Doom's music.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we go from 5 to 6 kids here, of course. This is As High as Wu-Tang Gets, produced by RZA. This is built from funk soul loop material and chopped vocal textures, and not consistent samples here again, kids. Nothing that's clearly agreed upon. But this is like funk era groove influence on this one, man. And again, this is another good song in a row, Phil. Like, we're hitting several in a row here, dude. What do you think about this one?
This is the definitive ODB song off of the first half of this album. Like, yes, from start to finish, his hook on it at the beginning, him coming in, da 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 da. Bro, this is his record. Like, it's just like his energy is all over this record.
He just has fun, right? Like the way he introduces it. Yeah, he just has fun. Yeah, it's a great song, man. Like, I really appreciate this. It's really good. Like, again, this is how 4 in a row, just bangers, man, off this first album here. Yeah.
Really good love ODB's energy here. I love the hook on this. It fits it perfectly. This is kind of the sound that works the best with him, funk and just like chaotic. It's just perfect sound for him.
Yeah, 5 in a row, 5 in a row. Riz and Jizz are both on here, and of course ODB, like we just said. Meth, Inspector Dead, Ghostface Killer, You God. I mean, a lot of these guys are just appearing numerous times. And for very brief moments here and there, they just kind of get in, get out. This one leads heavily into atmosphere over structure. It's less about verses, more about texture and presence. And the Clan feels spaced out across the beat rather than stacked on top of it. Again, for me, it's just an ODB song. That's kind of how I hear it. So, yeah, good stuff. Let's see. As we go to track 7, kids, we're cooking our way through this one, let me tell you. Track 7 is Severe Punishment. And again, sounding a little bit different delivery. The tone is different than what we've heard so far. Yeah. What do you think about this one?
I would say this sounds the closest to something off of Enter the Chamber, because it has like the Kung Fu sample at the beginning. It has that same kind of like beat loop. and even just like the verses that starts it, it sounds the closest to something off of the first album for me.
I love the loop in this song, dude. It is so good. It is so good. This loop is so good. Like, I could listen to it, and you listen to it over and over again because this song is very repetitive, but like that loop is great, man. Really good. I'm here for it. It again, definitely sample-based production, but kind of unknown as to what they're using. A lot of different things in here. Jizz is on here, Inspector Deck, Meth's on here, Ghostface Killer, RZA's on here. This is like you said, Phil, this is more along the lines of what you get on the first album. Classic Wu-Tang, martial philosophy track, violence, discipline, consequence, filtered through kung fu cinematic language. I mean, you can hear like the evolution of the band from the first album to the second one, just because they threw this on here is kind of a reminder of who they were on the first album and how they're going for something different on this one. I like that it's here. I really love this track, man.
Yeah, agreed. This is it's close enough that it doesn't feel like retread to anything off of the first album. It kind of just feels like the quintessential Wu-Tang sound.
Man, this is a fun track. God, dude, I'm telling you. I mean, this is track 7, and that's counting the intro there. That's 6 bangers in a row, dude. Again, I think this album's underrated, man. Like, I mean, when you think about this band, I mean, I think most people think about 36 Chambers. I really do. They're thinking about that album, not this one. But this is some good stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it definitely is not as popular as the first album for sure, but I feel like a lot of hip hop fans do consider it a classic album.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's see. We've got track number 8, and let's see. Severe Punishment, kids, if we didn't mention, was 4 minutes 49 seconds. As high as Wu-Tang Get was 2:38. Older Gods is, again, a little bit different vibe, a little bit different delivery, but it's still good. Great intro, great rap. The first verse on this song is great. I mean, again, like they're not holding back, Phil. This just sounds like guys who are not phoning it in. No one's getting lazy on any of these tracks. Like they're really working hard here. What's your take on Older Gods?
Yeah. Depending on the day, Ghostface is my favorite member. And that might be why I listen to a lot of his solo out stuff so much. So starting the track with him and like his voice and everything, his delivery on his verse is so good. Yeah, big Ghostface fan. Sorry.
Yeah, it's great, dude. No universally locked single source sample credit for this one either. RZA, Jizza, Raekwon, Ghostface, of course, and Meth. This track leans into legacy thinking. The Clan position themselves as inheritors of something larger than themselves. It's less about identity, more about permanence. So I love that idea that connected themselves to like the world of martial arts and like the Wu-Tang Clan and all that stuff. And, just again, I think that's one of the things that made that first album so special. It didn't just sound like a rap band. It sounded like a rap band that was already layered and textured and belonging to a much different, like a much bigger world than what they were. I love the sound of the keyboard in this. I think it adds a nice touch. I like the production on this one, man. I think it's a really good song.
Yeah. As I noted earlier, and just like you'd be hard pressed to not say that Wu-Tang had a heavy influence on the Griselda guys, and like you can definitely see it on here, and just like the back and forth between Ghostface and Raekwon on here. Even the way Raekwon starts his verse with Ayo, Westside Gun famously starts his verse with Ayo.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good pull. Yeah, again, it's another great song, man. I mean, this track, side A's cooking on this album, dude. Really good. I mean, they lend themselves to soundtracks, and like I know RZA's done stuff in the soundtrack world. I mean, we've covered Luke Cage here. There was some Wu-Tang on that Luke Cage show, it just fit perfectly with the vibe of that show. I mean, why do you think that is that a lot of their stuff fits? Is it just the cinematic tone, or why is it that it fits like in TV shows and movies and whatnot?
It's just big and bold. It just has this like, there's something about it that just feels big. It feels like it fits on the score of something. And I think that that's why RZA has done well with music for soundtracks and things before. Like even when he did the music for Afro Samurai, that's kind of his niche. That's kind of his lane.
Yeah, I agree with that. Was he on the Black Panther soundtrack, or am I thinking of Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick Lamar is on there. I think RZA produced the song for that soundtrack, if I remember correctly.
Maybe that's what it was. Another really good track, man. It's really good. Helps make this album what it is, especially on side A. So, and by the way, the title Older Gods is interesting. Like, I don't know if there's any deep meaning to that or not. I really have no idea, but like, makes me wonder. They're still all relatively young when this comes out, but I've always kind of wondered if it's already them kind of looking ahead. I don't know. Track number 9, Kids. Let's see, coming in at 3 minutes, 5 seconds. This is Maria, or am I right about the time? Actually, no, it's 2 minutes, 55 seconds. Excuse me. So Maria is track number 9. Again, I've said this many times in a row. It's still Wu-Tang, still a great song. But again, the samples are different. This kind of reminds me, this is kind of reflective of, I think, what is it, For Heaven's Sake, I think is the one it kind of reminds me of. But what's your take on this one?
Yeah, love the production on here. Again, big highlight of this album, the first half of the album in particular, is RZA's production. There are bits of his production that fit, like I said, mixed. The way it's mixed, it's a bit crunchy. It's kind of hard to. It's not always easy listening. But this is, again, head knocker, man. The loop he uses for it. Again, ODB's energy at the beginning, his intro on here. Very vulgar record, very Wu-Tang attempt at, like, I was almost going to say a ladies record, but it's not a ladies record at all.
No, not a bit.
Yeah, it's but this is kind of like, I can't see them making like a commercial song that's like trying to like make a club record for women. And this is like, I don't want to say it's their attempt at it, but it's such a their attempt at like making a song about women. Yeah. It's very funny, which is funny in a way, but also like ODB's verse in itself, the Capadonna record.
Yes. I mean, plus they got the Kung Fu clips in there too.
Yes.
So, yeah, they can't really get away from that. So, soul-based instrumental foundation with some chopped up elements happening here. Multiple claims of what samples are used. No idea to really know exactly what it is unless you were an engineer and you took the song, broke it down yourself. Sample, but inconsistent. In other words, Raekwon, Ghostface, Capadonna, RZA, of course, ODB, as you said. I mean, just it's got its moments. I like it quite a bit. I think it's a really good song. It definitely fits on this album when it's an album full of RZA kind of pushing the limits of what this band can sound like, what they can and can't do. And, so far there's been no misses. I mean, if we kind of went after that first one and said, well, it's a spoken word sort of thing and a whole lot of revival preaching for some weird reason. But, maybe that's kind of a miss in terms of tone. But if the rest of these as tracks have not been a miss at all. So, again, a really good one. Kids, that takes us to track 10, A Better Tomorrow. 4 minutes, 55 seconds. I kind of feel like I've just been repeating myself through this whole episode because every time I get to a song, I say, this is a great song. But once again, they're delivering. Like RZA's beats and his production just lend themselves to one of the guys being able to just come in as hard as he wants to and deliver great lyrics, and that's what we're getting here. This is orchestral, sample-based composition influence, and it's often linked to classical and lounge records and breakdowns. More compositional sampling than a clean loop. Again, another good song, man. We're almost to the end, and we're still cooking with this, man. Where do you put this one, like on side A?
Yeah, I really love the production on here. Like I said, very much sounds like lounge music. Has that piano, then has that almost kind of sounds like "Show Me What You Got" to me for some reason in this moment. But like, as that same kind of like wail to it, I really love the production on this. It's crazy because you've got like great rappers in this group. Like you've got, like I said, any of these guys, like just by their solo career alone, you put two of these guys on a song and it's kind of like a cheat code. And with that in mind, I don't feel like any of these guys are the cheat code of this album. RZA is the cheat code. His production on this is really the thing that brings everything together.
I mean, dude, I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine because we didn't get it, right? But like, I can't imagine this album in the hands of like Swiss Beats or even Rick Rubin or somebody like that. Like, would it still have been a good album? Probably. But man, it's handled in house. It's handled by the guy that's behind the scenes. It's with these guys every day. Like, knows what he can play to the strengths of each of his friends and how they deliver on the mic. Like, I think Riz is maybe the biggest asset this band had from start to finish. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and then with that said, as good as the production is on this, I feel like this song has the most substance on the first half. Like, the actual like concept of the song is great. You Guys' verse is just amazing.
Yeah.
Inspector Deck is great on this one as well. Like, you can make a strong argument, like in terms of like the content and like the verse himself. This is arguably one of the best songs on the album.
I agree. And it's doing more than just giving you something to bop your head to. Like, it's actually got a message behind it too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would dare say they're probably they're in their 20s when this comes out, right? Like, but they're already thinking ahead. Like, you know, smoke your life away, drink your life away and all that. But like, they're already getting some sort of, you know, self-awareness, I think, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of interesting that Ghostface is not on this song. And Ghostface has had some very public stuff going with him and his kids recently.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's out there if you guys want to get into it. There's definitely some stuff between him and his kids that doesn't make Ghostface look great. Does not come off great at all. Maybe Ghostface should have been in the studio for this one.
Yeah, again, more compositional sampling than anything else, and it's melodic, very melodic. It's got some reflective moments on here, and they kind of step away. The Clan kind of steps away from confrontation and more into like legacy thinking, which I've used the word legacy a lot here today, I think, but sort of looking forward instead of inward. We wrap this up, kids, with track 11 for side A. It's Yours, produced by RZA, of course. The sample on this one is a T-La Rock and Jazzy J, It's Yours. The interpolation sample lineage of that song is here. I like this song. I can't tell you it's my favorite on side A, but I do enjoy it. What do you think about how for this to be the song that closes out the first disc?
Definitely has that like closing credit sound to it.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like the song a lot. I don't think there are any real misses on the first half of this album.
I agree.
Other than intro.
Yeah.
But again, I don't count the intro as a track because, like I said, I always skip it.
Yeah, it brings everything back to unity, which is nice. And we've had philosophical tracks, cinematic storytelling, fractured tone shifts, and this sort of recenters the Clan, and then it leads into the next track, which is the first track of side B, which is another intro, which will lead us into Triumph, which is really what I agree with you, man. I think for most people, myself included, if you put me on the spot and said name one song off this album, I would have said Triumph.
Of course. A lot of the rest of this song is, the rest of this album is deep cuts. I believe It's Yours was one of the singles from this album.
I think so.
Right?
I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's got sort of I want to say it's got a poppy sound to it, but I know that sounds a certain kind of way. Sounds like an MTV term, I suppose. But it does kind of have like an 80s sort of sound to it, doesn't it? Like you could hear that drum beat like on a Run DMC song or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Great song. I think like off the first half, it makes a ton of sense as a single. I don't know if it would work as well as a single today, but absolutely in 1997 or 98, whenever it came out, I thought it worked well. And like I'm picturing the video and everything. That's why I'm like, this was definitely a single.
Yeah, Triumph, It's Yours, and Reunited were the three tracks, the three singles.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, Reunited.
Of
makes
course.
a ton of sense as a single as well.
It's perfect. I can't believe Visions wasn't a single. I still think it's too close to Triumph. I think that's what they thought.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Triumph was just such a monster hit for them.
Yeah. I just remember the song they turned into bees. Or the video, excuse me. Killer Bees, I guess. Which is interesting. Man, when that video premiered, dude, it was all over the place.
Yes. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those videos that like had a big visual impact.
Yeah. Well, kids, stay tuned for that one. We're not going to talk about that too much right here because we're going to save that to side B. You know, we always do like the last word and stuff, but instead of that, you know, we know that there was stuff that came after. There was stuff that came after this album. There was other things they've done. Even after ODB passed, they still had some live appearances as a band. And again, ODB's son would kind of step in. But the W comes after this album, Iron Flag in 2001, 8 Diagrams in 2007, A Better Tomorrow in 2014, and Once Upon a Time in Shallow End in 2015. So they kept going. I mean, are they still a thing, like an active? I think they just only appear for special events, perhaps. But you know, I think they could still do it. I don't know if they're in a position where they want to, but it kind of feels like they're just they come back together for special events at this point as a group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they could. I mean, whenever the opportunity arises, I think it would work out. But yeah, it's fun to see them. They were on, I think, Kimmel not too long back, and I may have even sent you that clip when I saw it because they were awesome. Like, they sounded great. Phil, as we get out of here on this one, what's your thoughts about side one? If all we'd gotten was side one or side A of this album, would that have been an album to you? Does it feel like it's missing anything? If all you got were, you know, these tracks and they were in and out, what do you think about if this had been just a standalone Wu-Tang Clan album?
I think like the first half of this would have been perfectly fine. It's just a album in itself. I think just 11 songs, like no misses. It would have been perfect. But I mean, of course, you wouldn't have got Triumph on the album. But like, I think this was. I think this first half of the album was a great way to come back out as a group and establish. You still had a sound that you wanted to put out. You still had something that like made you distinct, that made you stand out. And of course, you know what we learned years later will have this massive influence on the genre.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I agree. I think this would have been a great album. Just the first set of songs here would have been a fine album all by itself. It makes me wonder, once we really dive into side two or to side B, are we going to hit moments where it's like, this one could have been left off? I don't know, because I've listened to the entire album several times in the past month or so, but I couldn't sit here and analyze the tracks because I've just not done that yet. But kids, we'll get there when we get there, and it should be next week. So everybody pay attention, look out for that, and we're going to finish up this album. If you've not listened to this album in a hot minute, go out of your way to do so, because it's still great. It holds up, still sounds as fresh as it did when it was released back then. So I think you'll still enjoy it. Some great stuff on here. Some more bangers, I'm sure, to get to on side B, not the least of which is Triumph. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to, as always, kids, follow us on Boink Studios YouTube. Check out boinkstudios.com. We've got content there dating back to 2014, so please feel free to check us out. Nothing's behind a paywall. Give us a follow, like, share, subscribe. Be sure to check out Grapsity, starring Phil Lindsey and Righteous Reg. And thanks, as always, for hanging out with us, kids. Be sure to join us next week for another brand new 6M. And until then, that is Side A of Wu-Tang Forever. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.